We're going to head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. We have two of them, both of them relative to the suspension. So let's take a listen to the first one about the Deshaun Watson suspension.
Dave, this is Cassius, the self-proclaimed quintessential Cleveland Browns fan. I just wanted to call in, go back, listen to my tape. I told you that Deshaun Watson was going to get 6 games. So essentially what Judge Sue L. Robinson did was she kept it what the league already had established with this 6-game suspension. I believe that that's great news for the Browns. The NFL may appeal it, but I think in the end it's going to end up being 6 games only, because if the NFL appeals it, then the Players Union is going to file something in court, and then it's going to turn into a whole different thing. So I think they're going to stick with the 6 games. And the Cleveland Browns will be fine. Now it's time focused strictly on football. Go Browns. They saved our season.
All right. So, Tim, we'll get to the other one in a minute. But again, locally, the reaction is most feel it's kind of fair to what they expected.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of feel like that's where it's been trending since the hearings wrapped up. We heard a lot of the stuff that, the NFL is no longer going for the indefinite suspension, the year-long suspension. And this kind of felt like the middle ground between, 10 to 12 games for what the league wanted. And obviously the players seemed like they didn't want any games. So the middle ground there is obviously 6 games. I think that's just kind of what we all kind of expected. And it was kind of interesting to see, in the findings from Judge Robinson that, obviously she found the violations that Watson committed in the personal conduct policy. But of course, going within the policy itself, within the history of the NFL and all those different things that have happened, all those combined, obviously, to put it in 6 games. So fair, I guess, considering where things have ended up as far as, how heavy suspensions have been, how heavy, the punishments have been versus, Deshaun Watson's case where, right now he's only got one civil suit pending. He settled all but one of those suits prior to, as of this morning. So, I mean, for the Browns, it's not a bad, it's a pretty solid situation for them because, it's a third of the season. It's a pretty decent chunk of it. But you still get Deshaun Watson back for those last 2 games, Baltimore and Cincinnati before the bye week. And then you get him for those last 8 games, and you still got plenty of tough matchups to make or break your season. 6-game suspension, just from a pure on-field perspective, gives the Browns still a really good shot to get into the playoffs.